needed to give you more than one scenario.
They're very
I
different
can give
things,
you
and if you're
multiple
not seeing them
scenarios
different,
if
I
you
don't
would
know what
like.
to do.
But if they're wearing heels and saying they're a girl and they're acting like a girl and they're doing girl things,
Girl,
is that not a sign?
So are they specifically wearing heels, or are they just doing things consistently weeks on end saying that they're a girl?
Heels, playing with mama's hair, braiding it, putting
Not
makeup on their
necessarily.
face.
No, not necessarily. Those are just things that a child might like to do. Again, you're looking for
So to
things.
answer my question again, you have not answered it. You just keep
I
beating
have
around the bush.
fucking answered
No,
it. You're
you
just
keep
not
beating.
listening.
You keep beating around the bush. You're not
I'm
giving a
not beating around
thorough
the bush. I'm
answer.
being completely
Okay.
honest with you, and you're
Well,
not listening.
I'm not gonna get uncordial here, but you have not thoroughly answered the question. What is the line where?
There's not a line.
Okay, so then how do you know if a kid is pretending or not pretending?
Again, you're going to look for things more than just dressing up one way.
Dressing up, playing with mama's hair, acting like a girl.
What do you
So
mean like a
what
girl?
more are we looking for here?
I gave you very specific examples, right? You're not looking for a child
Drawing
to say, I
pictures of
want
themselves.
to
So
make
mind
them.
you,
Will you
honey,
fucking listen?
I went to school for fucking psychology. So what more are you
Of course you
looking
did.
for? I did.
So
I
if you
double
went to
majored
school
in
for psychology,
psychology
then
and
you should
small
have an
business.
understanding. Or did you go to school for psychology like years ago?
What?
When did you go to school for psychology?
How is that relevant? I didn't go in the 80s when they were thinking
Great. So
crazy
did you
shit.
learn, did you go to like advanced, like did you learn about gender identity development in the brain as children?
Yes.
Great. So why are you arguing with me?
Cognitive thinking
No.
and development, yes.
Great. So then you should already know the answers to your questions.
I I do. You don't.
Yeah, I
You
do.
also have to realize you're getting the perspective from two
You're
moms
having a
who
child that their
listen.
cognitive brain has
Hello?
not fully developed, and you're saying that
Hello?
they know what they are.
Great.
And
What part of the
and the only reason why I'm not
part of the
answering
brain
what
does
you're
gender identity
saying down there
development?
because
Okay.
she has not answered the question yet.
Okay, so the thing is, you're getting the perspective from two moms with trans kids. No one here is claiming to be a psychiatrist, psychologist, neuroscientist, anything like that. We're telling you what we observe as a parent. If you want something more like deep and concrete than that, talk to a therapist and ask them. They're the ones that are going to diagnose a kid with gender dysphoria, which would be the only way that a trans kid is going to get medical care if that's what you're trying to get at. We can't diagnose our kids with gender dysphoria, but we can listen to them when they tell us their gender identity does not align with their sex. They're trans.
Exactly.
But nothing's going to happen beyond that unless they go to a therapist and get a diagnosis. So it doesn't matter.
The fact of the matter is the question has still not been answered.
I literally answered your question.
So here, let me rephrase the question then to see if we can get a better answer.
Oh, great.
What did your children signs show that
So they're
you
very
were
different.
like,
My
they're
child showed
transgender?
0 signs, right?
Zero signs.
None.
So how did you know that your child was
Me.
trans?
She told me at age 13 that she was not a boy. Now with Sherry, there were signs.
Okay, so what were those signs?
Oh God, you want to go through the laundry list? Okay, so
I already
Yes,
told you.
I mean, am I not allowed to ask questions? I mean, you
You're
want
allowed
to
to ask
inform
questions, but
people.
didn't
You're
I
here
already
to
give
inform
you
people. So I'm asking real life questions, real life experiences in this
Right.
situation.
So
When
Mel
I
told
studied psychology, a lot of it was observation. I wasn't
Right.
sitting here reading books and doing that. It was seeing what was really happening.
Great. And I
Okay,
already
so
told
Mel
you
gave you
multiple
some
signs.
examples. Mel gave you some examples. So my son, born female, starting at 2 years old, I guess, probably had more of a desire to play with boys' toys, to make believe as Spider-Man, Buzz Lightyear, wear boys' clothes, things like that. Then it progressed into, wait, I'm going to answer your question. Then it progressed into, at 5, 6 years old, any clothes that I had from the girls section, he refused to wear. So then I told him, go pick out clothes. Let's go to the store, pick out whatever you wanted. Everything was from the boys section. Then it was more progressive of like, I wish I could just be reborn tomorrow and be born as a boy so I can be myself.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Uh-huh.
Are you a single mother?
Fuck no.
I'm just asking. No, it's
No,
a
and I'm not a
legitimate-
single mother either.
Okay,
so
okay. It was just a little legitimate
yeah,
question.
okay.
It wasn't. It was.
Yeah, we
it-
know because
it
it's the moms who
literally
make
was-
the kids trans. I know.
If you look at my following, I'm not here to play around. I'm not a troll.
You're
I have
kind of a dick.
157,000 following for a reason.
Kind of
I'm
an
not
ass.
trolling.
You're kind of being an ass right now.
How am I being an ass? I was asking a
Every time that
legitimate
we try
question
to answer
because
questions,
that
you're
is
saying
a
we're not answering
psychological.
them.
No,
Every time
I
I try
was.
to talk, you talk over me, right? If you wanted to actually have a
was
conversation, I've
I was
already
literally-
answered these questions. Already
I was
answered these
literally
questions.
listening to her experiences, and I asked one question, and I'm an ass.
Right. Why did you ask her that question?
Yeah, why does it matter?
Because psychologically, that is a thing. So if she's not a single mother, then good.
What
That's
does that
not
mean?
a factor.
Psychologically, that's a thing. What does that mean?
For children, they will follow their mother a lot, boy or girl, because it is their mother, and that's the only
She
person
literally
they have
said
in their life.
her child who was born female is a boy. So that makes 0 sense, dude. Zero. None. Zero.
She
Zero.
fought. If her mother likes guy things, she will follow the guy things.
He is a boy.
Sorry.
No, I was not into
I just
Spider-Man.
asked one question. That's all. I didn't mean to defer the whole. I was wanting to hear her statement. I just wanted to ask one question. That was it.
And
So-
you were
and then-
implying something. We're not dumb.
I'm not implying
Stop
anything.
treating us like
So,
we don't know.
so
what
I can't ask a question without having it be implication.
You even admitted there was implication there. So don't fucking act stupid here.
How did I admit there was implication?
As you said, there's a correlation.
You did.
How did I say there was a correlation?
You
I
said
was
that there's
asking a
people
question
show
to see
that
if
you're
that
gonna
was.
follow their
Listen,
mothers.
I was asking a question to see if that was a circumstance in your situation. It's
No, and
not.
that's not
So
a
now I'm willing
circumstance.
to move forward.
That, great. 'Cause
That's
that is
fine.
not a circumstance.
That's a
ever.
question. That's like
Can
saying.
I fucking talk? That is
Ah.
not a circumstance ever with a transgender child. It's not about a child copying a parent. That is not what being trans is. It literally develops in your brain.
Right. And then some of the examples that Mel gave after saying stuff like, I wish I could be born again so I could be a boy and be myself. Then we did things where it was like, let's draw ourselves when we're old and see what we look like. And he always drew himself as a grown man. When he got video games and was able to pick an avatar,
video games.
it was always a boy avatar. Things like that. It brought question, but nothing really happened because I let him pick out his clothes. He wanted to cut off all his hair. I let him cut his hair. The only problem was when it was like special events, like formal events, and he was forced into wearing like feminine clothes. He was highly distressed over a lot of different situations. So then my next step was, let's seek out therapy because something's causing this kid extreme anxiety. That was when he was diagnosed with gender dysphoria. And I was like, okay, this makes sense. But it wasn't something that happened overnight. That's not what parents are doing on here. Our kids don't come to us and say something once and we're like, oh, take you to the doctor tomorrow and get you some hormones. It took years and years and years.
It's reckless for you to say that there aren't parents that are doing that.
You're not allowed to. It doesn't happen. You have to go to a therapist. You have to get a diagnosis. You have to get referred to an endocrinologist. It's a long process.
You can't just make your kids trans. However, more commonly, people try to make their trans kids cis. They tell kids that they're wrong, that they're not old enough to understand themselves, that they need to be 18 for some reason because that's some magical fucking age where you know yourself. No, that is incorrect. And what that does is traumatizes children.
18 is to me it's still too young. It's about 21 to 26 when your cognitive thinking fully
Again, I
develops.
asked you earlier, it's not about cognitive thinking. It's about what part of the brain does gender identity develop in?
It's not about cognitive thinking.
What part of the brain does gender identity develop in?
What part of the brain tells you what's right from wrong?
I asked you a very specific question. What part of the brain does gender identity develop in?
And I rebutted
Hypothalamus. Right.
What?
And gender identity develops in the brain as a child between the ages of 3 and 7. It has nothing to do with 22 to 25 or whatever shit you just said. Right? We don't make cisgender kids wait until they're adults to say what their gender identity is. We need to stop traumatizing trans kids.
So what about all the unaliving of themselves of trans people who
Another reason why they need support.
regret what they've done?
No, it's a lack of support.
What?
It's a lack of support by family, by
Lack of support.
society.
So check it out. I've grown up in the East Bay area of California my entire life. Spoke with trans people all my entire life. Worked
Good for you.
all over this fucking area.
What that has to do with anything?
And it's what it has to do. If you would listen, like you said, I don't listen. You're not
I
listening.
stopped so you could listen, but it doesn't have it's not relevant to the topic, but go ahead.
It is relevant. I would talk to them. There were customers that I was constantly fucking doing work on their house. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse. Constantly doing work on their houses all over Berkeley, Oakland, San
What is your
Francisco.
point?
My point is these trans people regretted a lot of their decisions doing trans because it was constant that they had to cancel jobs on me because they had to go to the hospital. They had so many health problems.
Oh, shut
Because
up. Stop it.
transitioning
Absolutely
is
not.
transitioning is not real medical.
Oh my God, fuck off. Absolutely not.
That was fun.
You guys get kicked off?
No. Poor Mel. Today has been rough for you. Seriously.
I know. And everybody's like, Mel, you're such a bitch. I am so tired of people not listening.
I know.
After we explain things, like you don't actually want to know what the signs are. He didn't care about any of the questions he was asking. He didn't give a fuck. He didn't care. He doesn't care.
Is it just you two now? And the 500 and something people watching.
Because people have appointments. That means that they regret being trans. What the fuck? What?
I don't know.
Run when the facts come out.
He grew up in the Bay Area though, so he knows everything there is to know about trans people. So I don't know.
Hello.
Hello?
Hey, how are y'all doing?
All right. What's your age?
I am 32 years old. How old are you?
41.
48.
48, 41. Awesome, you guys. What are your names so we can start off a little bit?
Mel and Sherry. Mel, Sherry.
All right. Call me John.
Cool,
Okay,
John.
All right. So you're the host. I've been listening a little bit about the previous guest, but you guys also feel he didn't give you an opportunity to speak. So I'd like to give you guys, the mic and start off the debate.
Okay,
Great.
well,
This is not a debate, so
Well, okay, the
if you're here to
conversation.
debate, you can go.
Okay, conversation.
Great.
do you have a question? Let's start with that.
Okay, so I can tell y'all are both
I need a smaller one.
red flag. Awesome. Anyways, I can tell, based off of the last guest, your view is different than mine. I want to start off this conversation by being civil and
Great. Can you
hopefully
just get to it? Just fucking get to it.
Okay. So I where I come from, I don't believe that when children are teenagers, single digits, they truly know what's happening, right?
In what aspect? What do you mean by
if,
that?
if they want to be a guy or a girl.
Great. So it's not a want,
You,
John.
you think teenagers don't know if they're boys or girls?
I do believe in gender dysphoria.
What is gender dysphoria then?
So not knowing what gender you are or believing
No.
you're the opposite gender.
That is incorrect.
What is it then?
It's a distress-based disorder that has clinically significant symptoms that affect your ability to function in daily life.
Dude, that's such a broad way of putting it. Every disorder is that.
What?
Yeah.
It's in relation to your sex and your gender not being aligned. It's that high level of distress. So it's not the being trans, it's the level of distress that comes along with it.
My
Which
The level of distress because you believe that you're a girl when you're a guy or vice versa.
No. Because you're not believing that you're something that you're not, right? You actually are the gender you are.
No, because
Yes.
gender is set. Okay, so science is being able to repeat something, right? So I am a male, even though one day if I wake up for some reason, I'm like, oh, I feel like a girl right now.
So that's not how gender identity works.
It doesn't change.
That's not how gender identity works. You don't just wake up one day and think you're another gender.
Okay, but I mean, regardless, waking up or one day eventually believing it.
Gender identity develops in the brain as a child. That is science.
No, I'll tell you my experience. And
It's not about your experience. We want you to talk about facts.
Okay. So, I mean, your experience is one thing from the other. You try to tell me my facts don't matter, but the scientific community is able to repeat it. If you have an XY chromosome,
Yes.
Scientifically, you're male. Now, when it comes to anomalies like, he, she's, someone who is
Okay,
born
no,
with
absolutely
a
not.
penis
That is a
and
fucking slur.
a
No,
vagina.
you're talking about someone who is intersex, right? And that's not an anomaly, like it's a variation, right? It's just a variation in sex characteristics. Absolutely not.
No, it's absolutely an anomaly. Not like 99% of guys
That's not
are
true.
born with just a penis. Probably like 99.8%.
99% of facts are made up on the spot. Okay, so you need an actual source on what you're saying. You're just
I
making
mean, do you want me to like look it up? Like how many
You're just
men are
making up
born
shit.
with penises versus how many men are born
Have you
with
ever
penises
actually
and
looked
vaginas?
up? Have you ever actually looked up how gender
Look,
identity?
okay,
develops
you
in-
started out saying that you didn't want this to be a
Hello.
debate.
Have you ever actually looked up how gender identity develops in the brain as children?
I mean, I took psychology in college. I took it
Okay,
all
so
through
how does
high
gender
school
identity
and
develop?
AP. I mean, okay, let's hear some studies from you.
How does gender identity develop in the brain?
You tell me.
Gender identity develops in the brain and the hypothalamus as a child between the ages of
But
3 and
how?
7.
Is it nature or is it nurture? Because both of them play a role. Nature is how things should develop. Nurture is environmental factors, right? So you can, in a sense, condition somebody to believe that they're a girl if the dude who is born a dude, a guy, is like, hey, you're a girl, you're a girl, you're a girl.
No, you can't.
Fucking gaslighting.
No, you absolutely can't. No, you can't.
Yeah, you can.
No, you
You
can't.
You
That's already been
absolutely.
proven through unethical studies that were done many, many years ago. That's already been proven not to be true. So gender identity is...
Okay. What
Wait,
study
no,
is that?
listen, but
What
before you
study?
keep
Can you
interrupting
name
me,
it?
before you keep interrupting me, because I haven't been able to say anything. If you know anything about child development, and you said you took psychology classes and stuff like that, you should know how gender is formed, right? This happens over time. It's part of early childhood development, just like when kids acquire language, right? They start out babbling, then they start
Right,
with
and-
words. And it's,
and
no,
nature and nurture
Stop
play a role in
fucking
that.
interrupting me.
Hey,
Listen.
okay, calm
Okay,
down.
so that they
Don't
start
tell
out
her
with
to fucking calm down.
they start I haven't been able to get one word in because you haven't stopped talking. So they start out with small language, one word, two words, small sentences, and then the language evolves. The gender development is kind of the same way. It's a progression. So when you try to say kids just wake up one day and say they want to be this gender, that is not true. That's like someone saying kids have no vocabulary whatsoever, and then they wake up one day and they're just able to speak in paragraphs. It doesn't work that way. It is all a process of development. It is all a process of nature when it comes to gender identity.
Yeah. Self-recognition of gender identity develops over time, as Sherry said, much the same as the child's physical body does. Most children's asserted gender identity aligns with their gender, their assigned gender or sex, right? So most children are cisgender. However, for some children, the match between their assigned gender and their assigned identity is not so clear.
And it's just something that
but I don't think you care. Hey, Pearl, what are you doing?
emerges through the development. So it's not that they're waking up one day and thinking something or changing their mind one day. It's something that emerges just like everything else in their development. Their motor skills, their language.
Can they wake up one day to the conclusion that, hey, I feel like a girl, and then all of a sudden environmental factors
No.
play a role?
No,
And
again, it's a
like
slow
people
progression.
who truly believe that that you can wake up one day and despite you have an XY chromosome,
We're not talking about
you're all
chromosomes. Nobody
no,
gives
we're
a
talking
fuck.
about science though, right?
Chromosomes
So
have nothing to do with your
chromosomes
identity. Nothing.
absolutely
Not a
do.
damn thing. Nothing.
It absolutely does
Not
because
to do
other
with your identity. It has to do with your sex, and nobody cares. Like the vast majority of
identity
people.
and sex is
Oh my God, John!
that is a
John!
correlation.
The vast majority of people have never even been karyotyped, which means we don't even know what our chromosomes are.
I mean, it's obvious.
It's not obvious. You
Okay,
are
put it
speaking
this way, right? So
basic fucking
no,
elementary
it is.
level.
It's super obvious. Okay, so if you lay down a guy and a girl, you put
I don't fucking care, John. Anyway, so how gender identity develops in children. Around age 2, children become conscious of their physical differences between boys and girls. And before their 3rd birthday, most children can easily label themselves as a boy or a girl. By age 4, most children have a stable sense of their gender identity. During this same time of life, children learn the gender role behavior. That is, doing things that boys do or girls do. However, cross-gender preferences and play are a normal part of gender development and exploration regardless of their future gender identity. Oh, yeah, I read that right. I just said it weird. So, like, you can actually read this, right? This article that I'm reading is on healthychildren.org. It's called Gender Identity Development in Children. It's by the American Academy of Pediatrics, right? But people are refusing to educate themselves on how children are trans and come up with these crazy things that somehow it correlates to your chromosomes or your fucking penis. Like, no, that is basic shit. What?
We're having a single mom that does it.
Yes. What the fuck? No.
Yeah. And what's funny is I've noticed this is observational data, right? From my son to most of the trans people that I've met on TikTok. I think almost every single one of them has told me that they knew their gender identity at 4 years old.
Hi, my name is Nathan Wilmer, and
Great, Nathan. How old are you?
19, and I think this is nonsense. And
Okay.
we define.
I don't care. Bye. If you think it's nonsense and you've already heard all the shit I've said, bye! I don't care. I'm kind of over it, honestly. Don't care.
Most of them.
What's up, Clay? Hello? Clay? Hello? All right. Anyway,
Unmuting.
Hello.
Maya. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
All right. How old are you?
I'm 22. My name's Katie.
Nice.
All right. Katie. What's up?
Okay, so I'm just gonna state this. I have family members who are trans, so I'm not against sorry, I have like a speech thing. I'm not against transgender identity or anything. But I am wondering, at what age do you think it's appropriate for a child to take puberty blockers? Because me personally, I don't think that a young child under the age of 12 should be taking any.
So puberty blockers have to be introduced between Tanner stage 2 and 3 of puberty. So that depends on the child. Some children go through puberty very early, especially if you have precocious puberty. You could be going on puberty blockers as early as 5 or 6.
Okay. And at what age do you think not necessarily a child, but a young adult should be allowed to have surgery if they choose so?
Depends what surgery you're talking about. Like, are you talking about top surgery or bottom?
More like top surgery. I think the bottom is a little bit more of a personal decision than the top.
They're both personal decisions, but
Right. So top surgery, typically you're looking at 16 being the earliest age. There are exceptions, of course, for 14, 15, depending on circumstances. Like if you had a kid who really went through puberty early, they have a lot of development, and the doctor and the therapist and the parents and the patient think that it's necessary at that time. But typically you're talking 16 and above.
Now, would that be with parents' consent?
Of course.
Okay. I was just wondering because I've noticed that a lot of teenagers nowadays, they try and make the decision on their own, but they're not allowed to. And I don't know what the whole issue.
yeah, I don't know where teenagers are trying to make any decisions on their own because they
My
literally can't.
cousin at the age of 16 he transitioned from female to male, and he tried to have this top surgery, and he wasn't allowed to. And
Because you need parental consent, you need lots of things. You need therapy for long periods of time.
The only exception to that are kids who are like in the foster system and things like that. There are some exceptions. Obviously, they have access to gender affirming care.
Or emancipation.
Yeah, because they're basically emancipated. So they're not getting they're getting guidance by the doctors and the therapists. But other than that, you need, and I think the states where you can get top surgery, you need at least one, if not both parents' consent.
oh, okay. Well, thank you.
For most things, you still need both parents' consent, especially when it comes to HRT. So,
What if one parent fights against it? Like let's just say that.
Sherry, what if one parent fights against it?
Yeah,
I'll go
so
back.
in the state of California, so I went through that. You have to go to court, and then basically you either have to request something like full legal custody, or you have to get an order saying that your kid can get gender affirming care, where basically you have medical experts who will come in and testify or write a declaration saying that the medical treatment is necessary for the kid, and then you can get an order for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had to do that in California.
Oh, I see. And one last question. It's nothing against like anybody's like views or anything, but like for me personally, would you think I would be wrong if I like, okay, let's say my son came to me and said, "Mommy, I'm a girl," and he's 4, and I decide that I don't think he's ready to make that decision. And when he's a little older, then we can return back to the topic if he so brings it up. Would I be wrong for that?
I mean, I would say I don't understand why you would tell them no. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't just say, well, like, okay, what does that mean? And have a conversation with your kid. Like, people make these unrealistic, like, scenarios where you would not interact or have a conversation with your kid. Like, wouldn't you ask, well, what do you mean?
Yeah.
How do you
Yeah,
feel?
I would ask that. But like
Right.
me and my husband both came to like a decision that not that it's a bad thing. We just at a young age don't want our kids exposed to a lot of different things, not just necessarily this. But if
So Katie, let's say you have a 4-year-old who's male. You keep telling the kid you're a boy and they tell you, no, I'm a girl. And when you go to the store, every time they're like, can I get this bow for my hair? Can I get this pretty dress? And you say no. And you break that little kid's heart every single time you go do something like that, right? And you continually reinforce that. Do you think that would be a positive for the kid? Or do you think it would be okay to just indulge them once in a while and say, like, okay, if that's really what you want to dress, like, okay, fine, it's just a dress?
yeah, I don't have a problem with kids wanting to try different things. Like
So at 4 years old, that's what it looks like. They're not getting medication or anything like that. It's just
Right. Like, why did you already make some type of decision to shut a kid down in certain scenarios when all we're saying is that you should just go with the kid? Like, you have conversations with the kid, you support the kid as they go. Because again, gender identity develops over time. It's not just a like you snap the finger and you're locking the kid into being trans.
But let's just say in like a random scenario, like they say, okay, I'm a girl, and they continue on, but let's just say at the age of 8, they decide that they're not anymore. Like, then what do I do then?
It's not very likely that they're going to be really consistent in that and then change. It's very incredibly unlikely.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if that happens, then you support them. You keep, okay.
Always, at any point, it could be 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. If your kid tells you, hey, you know what, I thought I changed my mind about this, or what I thought felt like this feels a little bit more like this. Okay, sure. What do you need from me? How can I support you? That's it.
Because they're their own person, their own individual thoughts and feelings. They're not you.
Right.
All right, what's up, Haley?
Hey, how's
Hey.
everyone doing? Haven't been on for a while, but I thought I'd pop up and say hello and give some advice if needed. But yeah, no, a lot of the time, I've transitioned, Katie, and I transitioned quite young. I mean, not as young as some, but 14, I was medically going through the process. My puberty, I guess some people say it started quite late, so which is why I was still able to take puberty blockers at that age. The effects of puberty they hadn't really taken off. So like the voice hadn't deepened, even though it has now. The voice hadn't deepened. I didn't get any sort of facial hair or body hair or anything. Like I just naturally just didn't get that. And so the doctors were like, okay, look, we can go ahead with puberty blockers still, even though, I was 14. So I did go through somewhat of a late puberty that, and like Mel said, it's going to be dependent on the person. Everyone's puberty is going to be different, and yeah. But yeah, I mean, the other thing too I wanted to say was that, you see, what if they're 8 years old and they change their mind and stuff? Mel's right. Usually that's very unlikely to happen. But this is why they go to doctors and psychologists, psychiatrists, so that they can then rule out other factors and say, well, look, maybe it could have been this, or it could have been this, or maybe it's gender dysphoria, right? It could be gender dysphoria. Like that's the most likely outcome of trans kids going to see those psychologists and psychiatrists. So they do that to rule out other factors.
Haley, can you take over for me? I got to go to the airport. They put my flight back so now I got to get going.
All right, bye, Jerry.
Okay, bye. Thanks.
And yeah, I see someone saying kids are not teens. Yeah, sure. My medical transition was when I was a teenager, but that doesn't mean that I wasn't still trans prior to this transition, to the medical aspect of things. So, yeah.
At what age did you know?
What age did I know? I mean, I've got to be honest. I don't have like a memory going back that far of me going, I'm a girl. But like, I do remember instances and occasions where things weren't right. And then I remember going to my mum and telling my mum. But I mean, that was like a year and a half prior to my medical, so about 12 or 13, maybe, I think 12. I think it was 12. Is when I actually spoke to my mum about it and said, this isn't right. Like, I don't know, like, things aren't right here. Like, because I remember.
And a lot of times kids don't notice until around puberty. And like Haley said, she went through puberty a little later than other kids, which kind of could be an indication of why she realized things later. But typically, when they do go to the professionals, you will find little indications that a child may have had like a thought or something that they did when they were younger, or a specific memory of maybe being uncomfortable in a certain situation, or like feeling like just almost maybe wishing to be a girl or wishing to be a boy or something like that. But children typically don't understand fully of what they're feeling, and they don't feel that it's something that other people would accept since they don't quite understand it themselves, so they just don't talk about it.
Yeah, like for me, there was an example, like my mum's partner at the time, I was probably like, I don't know, I'd say around 8 or 9. He used to tease me a lot and be like, stop acting like a girl, and why are you doing that? And calling me a pansy and calling me all these things, and when I would reply to him, I'd be like, I'm not, stop saying that. But then I'd go away later on and be like, how does he know? Or like, how do they know this? I feel like I'm hiding it well, and I always felt like I had to hide who I was because I just thought that I would be. I at the time I thought I was some freak of nature, and and I didn't know what it was, and I can't explain it without being like telling my whole life story. But like, there's so many moments back in time where you can think of things and go, and this is what you sort of explain and relay back to the therapists and the professionals.
Exactly.
And that, yeah.
Okay. And I was wondering about something else, and I don't know how to explain this, and I really don't want it to come out as like rude or anything.
Okay.
Do you believe that there's only 2 genders? Because I know that there are people, like, this is a big thing, like there's more than 2 genders, there's only 2 genders, like
No, I think there are many genders. Non-binary identities are totally valid. I think people's identities can be all over the place. Yeah, cultural.
Yeah, there's over 700 listed documented genders in history throughout the world. I know that might sound mind-blowing to a lot of people, but I can speak in my own culture, New Zealand, and Māori culture. We have gender identities that other people that aren't from New Zealand would be like, what? Like, whakawahine or whakatane or tahine. These are cultural gender identities that we recognize, but others might not.
because I know in the United States, most Americans recognize that there is only 2 genders.
Well, technically, if you want to go with boy and girl and man and woman, that's 4, right? It's not 2. They are different identities based on age. And another thing is that, yeah, just because you don't want to recognize non-binary identities, they still exist.
Right, I'm not disagreeing. I was just wondering, because I know that that's just a big debate on a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you can even be agender, which means you don't have agender. It means no gender.
Yeah, I've had people come on my lives. I've had this discussion so many times on my own lives where people are like, there's no such thing as cultural genders. And, those are nonsense. And there's only men and women. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Maybe travel around. Cut some grass.
Yeah, those are typically just people who want to keep a really basic understanding of things where it's very complex. It's very deep, and if you want to learn about all different types of cultures and then there's a lot that revolves around gender. Gender expression can be different depending on where you live as well and what culture you're in. So, and then in history, things changed over time too. So.
And one last thing before I go, I'm just really trying to understand all this. So, one of my sisters says that she's pansexual. That is one thing that I have also just never understood, because maybe it's the way she explains it. How she explains it is that she doesn't have any attraction to anyone, but how I take it as is it's like almost like non-binary.
Well,
Or no, sorry, not non-binary, bi.
Well, I'm pansexual, and
That
the way
doesn't-
I see it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. The way I see it is like, me as a woman being bisexual specifically, I would be attracted to just men and women, but I include non-binary too, which would make that not bi meaning two. So that's pansexual to me.
Right.
Doesn't
and
matter.
It sometimes it's because gender is irrelevant to people. A lot of people, right? They're just attracted to people.
Yeah, they're just people. I don't care what your gender is. If you're cool, you're cool.
So more like feeling, like you feel an attraction towards
Yeah, pansexual is relating to attraction. Yeah.
Okay.
To the person.
It's
Right.
not.
I think she just explained it very terribly to me, which is why I could never understand what she
Probably. Yeah.
I think the way that people explain things, like a lot of people explain it very differently because of their own personal experiences or how they personally feel. But she's just very terrible at it.
Yeah, I mean, and like somebody in the comments said, hearts, not parts. It's another way that people like to explain it, right? Because it doesn't have anything to do with like your gender identity or your genitalia. It doesn't have any type of attraction on any of those things. It literally just has to do with the person themselves, who you are. That's who you're attracted. That's who pansexual people are attracted to. Just the person themselves.
Okay.
Where I am heterosexual, right? So I am only attracted to men or like masculine people that I perceive as men, I guess, which kind of sounds problematic, but it's true. So I'm not gonna lie.
That doesn't sound problematic.
That's true. People I perceive as
I'm
men.
attracted to men too.
Yeah. So
Men are cute.
some.
Some could use a little bit of work for sure.
Sure. Yeah.
And that's probably problematic there itself, just from saying that. But
We're not just because you're attracted to men doesn't mean you're attracted to all men, right? So that's fine. All right. Did you have anything else, Katie?
no, that's actually it. I actually do have to go, but thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, I'll take back my red flag on Katie.
Yes. You seemed open-minded.
Yeah, a lot of times when people come in and are like, I have family members that are trans, I'm like,
Yikes.
yeah. But no, she was good. You're welcome to hang out, Haley. You can do whatever you want. You can leave. I don't care. I don't want to say it that way. Whatever you want to do. I'm not kicking you out, but
Okay, I'll stay for another and see how we go.
hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How old are you?
I'm 19. So I just basically wanted to talk about let kid be trans.
Okay.
I don't want to argue. I don't have any problem with other genders, yeah? I just wanted to talk about it. I just wanted to discuss my feelings about it. So basically, there's our kids that are born in way that not the kid's gonna choose that he's gonna be gay or trans or something like that, you know.
No,
But
kids don't choose
I'm
if
just
they're
talking
gay
about
or trans or anything like that.
what?
All kids just recognize their gender identity and their sexuality on their own. They're not choosing anything.
I know, but I mean, let just kids be kids.
Okay.
Let them like be kids, and then at the age of 16 or 15, they can decide, or you know.
But if you're placing if you're placing an age restriction on when they can make decisions, you're not really letting kids be kids, though, are you?
Exactly. No.
I am. I'm just talking about like let just kids be kids. Like let them live
Right.
their childhood
So
and
how
don't
are you
force them
supporting
into
them
a
in their
curve.
identity though and letting them be a kid if you're telling them that they can't be a kid until they're 16?
No, wait. I'm gonna say it in a different way. So, um,
Right, like I was assigned female at birth, right? I am a cisgender woman. So when I was a kid, I was a cisgender girl. Under the age of 16, I was a girl. That was part of me being a kid girl, a girl kid, right?
yeah.
So why wouldn't you allow trans kids to also be their identity while they're still kids?
Like I was
I mean, like
14. If you heard me
I'm not.
before, I was.
I'm just saying like I know yeah kids have the rights, you know, to decide and I'm not gonna say choose what they want to be, like what gender, what they I don't know how to say it, you know. My
Rexy,
English
what
is a
is
bit
your
bad.
identity? How do you identify?
I'm a male.
So are you a man?
Yeah.
So when you were a child, were you a boy under the age of 16?
I was.
So why did you get to be a boy?
What?
Why were you allowed to be a boy under the age of 16?
Because
Yeah,
you
and
know when you hit a certain age, like you're gonna decide. So at the age of 16, you're gonna grow up a bit. So I don't know how to say it. Like under the age of
unless you're
16 and
going to.
15, you're gonna be a kid. You're gonna be a boy.
Well, hold up. Wait a second. Well, does that mean you're saying that under the age of 16, I should have just remained presenting as a boy until I was 16 before
Yeah.
I like? Is that what you're saying? Even though I was like I don't know how long you've been here, but I was just explaining my medical transition at 14, and prior to that, even though I hadn't medically done anything, I was still trans.
Yeah.
I mean,
Before the age of
I just
16.
hopped in. You know, I just hopped in here and I saw that kid be trans. So
Right. So
I don't know.
Haley was a trans kid, right?
Yeah.
She was a girl before the age of 16, assigned male at birth.
Yep. That's me.
Yeah. Actually. Yeah, I can't say shit to that though. Actually, like I don't know how did I wanted to confess myself actually. So I didn't meant to like start an argument or something, but
Well, the
I
thing is
just
that some people can recognize they're trans before 16. So if you're not validating their identity, you're not allowing them to be a kid. You're actually doing the opposite of what you're saying.
no, actually I just wanted to say, like I don't know actually how to say it because my English is a bit bad, you know. So I just wanted to say that a kid's gonna decide, yeah. So they're gonna decide if they're gonna be trans or what they feel like to be like. How do I say it? So
I don't
they're
think
gonna choose.
decide is a good word. I think maybe a better word is recognize, or
Yeah, like
yeah, because deciding means that they had a choice between two things, or more than two things. That's what a decision or a choice sort of indicates, right?
We're not giving
yeah,
kids
exactly.
options.
Excuse me.
We're not giving kids options. They just are who they are.
Yeah, I
Some
know,
kids
but
can be male and a girl, and some kids can be female and a boy.
yeah, I know, but you know, kids are like see this everywhere. So they get a phone, they get a laptop or something, and they see that everyone posting about being trans, being gay, and they're gonna move to that way. So
No,
they're not
that's not
gonna
how it
think about.
works.
I mean, I saw that many times, and this is my opinion.
You saw that many times where?
I mean, everywhere. Like,
Everywhere? No.
yeah, I mean, not like everywhere, but I saw it a couple of times, like many times. And
Kids can now like see something in the media, or they can see someone who's trans and go, oh my God, that's me. I couldn't figure out why I felt this way. That's what they do. They can recognize, that can help them recognize their identity, but that doesn't make them trans or make them gay. That's totally, you can't be influenced. You can't be
It's not a
taught.
fashion. It's not a fashion trend that they're like, oh, I think I'm going to do that now. Oh my god, that looks so cool. I'm going to do that.
yeah, I'm cornered there. I can't say shit.
Yeah. Cool. So you're just incorrect on this, and that's okay.
Yeah.
yeah, then my bad.
Cool.
I'm just gonna say my goodbyes and yeah, have a good night or noon or something. Goodbye.
Bye.
Well, at least he didn't try to defend his incorrectness. He kind of just acknowledged it and went, you know what? I can't say much on that. You're right. I'm
Yeah.
going to go.
Awesome. I mean, sometimes you just have to really think about it, because people are just taught, like, so often everyone just hears things like, oh my God, you can just be influenced, or if you see it, that makes you it. And no, like, sometimes, again, if something doesn't have very good representation, or if children aren't educated, they can feel like something is just wrong with them and they won't express that. But if they see someone else that is going through the same thing that they're going through, or they can finally have an understanding, like, oh my gosh, that person is like me. But that doesn't make them that thing. It just helps you recognize it.
Yeah, I was not lucky. But over 2 decades ago when I was transitioning, I didn't, do you know what's crazy? I didn't even know what trans people were. I didn't know, I'd never seen trans people on TV or anything. I didn't know, I'd never heard of the word. It was just something that happened. And I think if it was more, around as it is now and more recognized, I think maybe that would have helped me with being more comfortable doing that. Like I said, when my mum's partner was saying, stop being a girl, you're acting like a girl and you're a pansy and stuff. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I wish, if those things were around, I would have been like, yeah, absolutely, I am a girl. Like, what's up?
Yeah, and I think things, there is like a double standard still in society. And of course, we live in completely different countries. But with like my daughter didn't say anything until she was 13, and I had no idea, right? Like, she was really good at hiding it, I guess. But her and her sibling, who was also assigned female at birth, they both played with each other's toys, so there was never any clear indication of anything, right? Until she got a little bit closer to puberty, when she kind of went gender neutral with clothing. Like, she would always wear white t-shirts and basketball shorts. That was it, which I thought was strange. But I think my whole point is, when it comes to, especially when people don't have an understanding or they're not taught about it, right? Because my kids didn't know about the community either, because I didn't know about it. When it comes to transgender girls who are assigned male at birth, that whole idea that children that are assumed to be boys, like, being feminine is frowned upon, right? So a lot of times those kids don't even attempt to express themselves, the kids who are transgender girls, because they're just like, I'm not going to be accepted this way, right? So a lot of times with those kids, you don't even see any types of signs, because they you do a really good job at hiding it.
Yeah, I tried to do that for a long time. I tried to hide it and deny it and be like, no. But then I would be secretly at home, in my room going, oh my God, how do they, like, how are these people, how do these people know? Like, oh my God, I'm like, got to do a better job. And and like I would try and disguise, my transness, if you will,
Yeah.
by wearing like I don't know if anyone remembers back in the day, but like there was these big like baggy Snoop Dogg pants that had like Snoop
Yeah, I know
Dogg
what you're talking about.
and like and like the Etnies shoes and like I used to wear like all these boy things to try and like disguise and like looking back I'm like I wasn't fooling anyone, but I thought in the moment I was like, I am eating with this, but like looking back I'm like, no girl, what were you thinking?
Yeah, and I don't know, it's so different, with each kid, but even cisgender kids express themselves so differently that when people come in and they're like, what is signs that your kids are trans? It's like it's not black and white. Like it's so individualized.
Yeah.
They express themselves very differently. So just listen to your kid. Just listen to them. That's it.
Yeah. Well, that's literally it. Just listen, have a talk with them, and yeah, I think we're in a generation now where it's far more accepted. Still not where we want it to be, but it has progressed in 20 years. So I'll take that little W, as something like, yeah, we're getting somewhere. It's just slow, but
It is. It's very slow. Parachute pants. Yeah, those pants. That's funny. I don't know. It's really interesting when you look at these things. So like my daughter, I found out actually recently, and again, I have permission to share her stuff online. So those of you that are like, oh my God. So she actually realized that around like age 8 or so, that she thought she just wanted to be a girl. Like she didn't really understand like why she had these like thoughts. And she thought since she just wanted to be a girl that she couldn't be a girl, right? Like that's not a thing people do. So she just kind of like buried that. Like whatever, I can't be a girl even if I want to be a girl. But then as time went on and she got closer to puberty and things started changing, that's when she really started to realize like, oh fuck, like I think I am a girl. Like this is what she said. That's what she told her therapist when I was there. And that realization, like when she figured that out, that's when she started getting like really bad gender dysphoria.
and
Because it kind of kicked in.
yeah, and I want to say too, like I think now, like yeah, I mean, I feel like people used to come for, especially, like the kids and stuff. Myself, I've gone through that experience. People used to come for trans kids. Now they're focused so hard on the parents. It's
I know.
crazy. I mean, like the amount of people that come for you, Mel. I am like, this is wild. And all you're doing is speaking on your experience as a mother of trans kids.
Yeah.
And people just, I mean, I see your picture on people's backgrounds. I'm like, what is wrong with you people?
I know. I know. That's all I ever wanted was just to support like trans kids and to use my anecdotal experience to help other parents understand their kids and to help like prepare yourselves in case your kid is trans. Like that's literally all I ever wanted. And for some reason I became popular and then that turned out to be very negative, but
I know. I just think it's just a big shift, and like, and I don't know. I just think it's not that deep. I actually wish more parents with trans kids would speak out. But maybe after watching TikTok and seeing your face plastered everywhere, they're probably thinking twice.
yeah,
about
they're
it now.
like, I'll leave it to
my
her.
Yeah, I don't want to be on Shanta's backboard.
That is totally valid, by the way.
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah.
That is totally valid. Yeah, that definitely makes sense why there's not a lot of parents of trans kids speaking out.
I know. Have you has there been any? I don't know if maybe someone can tell me. Has there been any updates on the TikTok ban from USA and?
I haven't heard a lot about it, but I heard that it's going to be like quite a while and there's going to be a lot of court cases and it may never actually happen. So it's not something we need to worry about anytime soon.
Oh yeah, cool. Because I was like, I hope that they find a way to get past this, because I think TikTok, I mean, it's so important, especially for America. They have no shade, but they've got a lot of issues over there when it comes to discussing trans people. I'm like, come on, America, catch up. The rest of the world's doing great. Catch up. Well, not the rest of the world, but
a lot of it is anyway. Yeah. And unfortunately, with America being like so shitty that other countries are jumping on board, which isn't helping, like Canada, for instance. It's rough out here, but it's funny. Somebody came in here earlier and was like, Mal, what do you do for the trans community? I'm like, this. I'm like, this is what I do. And she was like, that's not it. Like, you're not doing anything. Like, you're not giving any money or whatever. And I'm like, literally this platform, at least every time I go live, I would say at least one time I will talk to a parent who has questions that has a better understanding. And I know people are watching. There's a lot of people watching. So I know people in the chat are learning. Even today, I've had multiple times that I've given advice that have helped people. Earlier, there was a woman who it looks like her child is going to be her trans daughter. However, she found out that her daughter only told her siblings at this point and hadn't told the mom yet. So the mom was in like a waiting phase, but wanted to be supported and wanted to be educated. So we gave some resources and gave some advice, and it was a very good conversation. So that is
that's good.
That's the point of this platform. And her kid is 16, so.
Oh wow, yeah. No, I think there's a lot of great advice that comes off. I mean, I've been seeing a lot from the conservatives, and I feel like, I don't know, a part of me, I feel like, I mean, I haven't been live in quite a while because I'm just ending the first semester of this year. So we've got 2 more weeks of the semester, and then we have 6 weeks off. So you'll probably see a lot more of me on live streams, hosting stuff in that period. But I just, I've been seeing a lot of conservatives, and there's actually surprisingly a lot of conservative trans women. I don't see a lot of conservative trans men, but I do see a lot of conservative trans women on the right who are extremely problematic, and they're typically American, and I wonder why that is. Is this whole Blair White thing, and everyone wants to be controversial? Is it for fame, clout?
Kind of it's a pick me thing, right? Like if they're viewed as one of the good ones, that they may be safe. You know what I mean? Like so
Yeah,
they
like
just stick to the legislation, like, oh, I'm one of the good trans people, so don't hurt me, right?
yeah, like a kind of like hey, I'm on your side here. Like,
Exactly.
do I get a pass here?
Yeah, go after them. I'm on your side. Exactly. And that's what it is. And it's
Yeah.
definitely problematic and harmful. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've told them, I'm like, they're never going to pick you. They may sit there and agree with you in the moment because you're sitting there agreeing with them. But the minute you say something they don't like, they're going to be like, oh, get out of here, you man. And, it's like they don't care about you. You think
They
that
don't
they're your
even-
friends.
The cisgender people that hang out with them, like, they literally don't validate their identity. They don't view them as who they are. Absolutely not.
Yeah, and especially I've seen a couple of them pushing back recently because they don't like being called trans-identified males or TIMs or AGP or rabophilic. And I'm like, these TikTok doctors on here, diagnosing us all with AGP.
I know. Come on now. I know. And I'm sure it's even weirder for you, right? Like with you being in New Zealand, you're like, what is wrong with these weird Americans?
I know. Like, I barely see any. I don't see any New Zealanders up there on those panels go saying, yeah, trans women are men. There's the odd couple here and there, but
know.
they're just as much minority in this country as well. So
I think it's definitely nice. I think, especially for Americans, to see other trans people from other countries because they think it's some kind of like American thing, right? There's this idea that like America is the only country, you know what I mean? So like, oh, only Americans have trans people, you know, and it's because of those crazy moms making their kids trans.
Yeah. I was actually on a live and someone was trying to debate me about the legislations and stuff. I said, great, awesome. That doesn't apply to me. So what do? Do I sit there and, I mean, I can sit there and sympathize with people, whatever, and to a certain extent, but I don't see that over in New Zealand. We don't have those legislations and laws. Like someone was talking about, oh, well, what about people that can get fired from their job if they don't use the correct pronouns? I'm like, yeah, I think that that's weird to get fired for using incorrect pronouns. I think there should be a process. I think there would be more to it than just that. I think there would.
And that's actually in Canada. And what it is if you are harassing someone, right? So if you're consistently misgendering someone to like purposefully cause them harm, to bully them.
Exactly what I thought. And I thought, well, I said, yeah, if it's just,
if you accidentally misgender someone, no, you're not going to lose your job for that. That's ridiculous. But there are some really stupid legislation in the United States right now for like teachers. I don't know if you've heard about some of these things, but like, I can't remember what state it is. I think Missouri, but don't quote me on that. Where they're trying to propose that a teacher can go on a sex offender list for validating a child's pronouns.
Oh my gosh, that is ridiculous. That's probably one of the worst things I've heard in terms of legislation. That's ridiculous. I don't know. People bring up things like Title IX and C something bill, and I'm like, I don't care. To be honest, I don't. There's only so much caring I can give. I can feel sympathy and I can feel all these things, but I can't do shit from New Zealand. That doesn't affect me. These bills, we don't have that here. No one's, none of that.
There's so much, it's hard to keep up here. And honestly, it's so like mentally draining to like focus on all the negative legislation. It's exhausting, honestly. So, but yeah, and I'm sure it sounds like you actually you see a lot of the op lives. Luckily, I don't. My FYP is pretty much on this side of TikTok.
Oh yeah, my face has been plastered on their backgrounds quite a lot as well. So I do, sneak in here on a stealth account every now and then to see what they're up to. But because I'm quite lucky. I work directly with TikTok. I've been to conferences. I'm featured on their pages. I've met with the CEO of TikTok Australia. I've done all these things, right? So when they're absolutely slandering me, I screen record it and I send it off to them, and bam, their accounts are permanently gone.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, I took two of Shanta's big accounts, and she hasn't spoken about me since. So I'm like, haha.
Yeah, too bad you couldn't do that for other people. No. Because there's nothing we can do about it here.
Well, I can only do something about it when they specifically speak about me and slander me and say things or put things up about me. Like that's the only time that my manager and stuff will get involved. But if they're just sitting there calling me a man or something, I'm like, oh, that's nothing. Whatever.
Right.
I hear that all.
But when they go off, I know, because I have seen some of the lives with Shanta. I've seen some of the shit she says about me. It is definitely like defamation of character, like legit. It's not good shit.
Yeah, she pulled up an article of me. So I've been very open and honest on my live streams with my audience about how I've been to prison before.
Yeah, I've heard you say that.
I ended up stabbing a guy because him and his family actually attacked me with a big 2x4 piece of wood, and I was on the ground. I had no defense, so I picked up a beer bottle and just swung it, and that's what that happened. So she pulled the article up and then tried, and even in the article it said that I had attacked a man, and she was trying to say that it was a woman and that I was assaulting females, and I was like,
God, what?
I was like, it doesn't even didn't say that in the article. And then and then, I know. And then she said that I had HIV and hepatitis. I said it doesn't say that either. It says there's a claim of it. And I ended up having to do a live stream and show my
God.
results because everyone was attacking me and coming into my DM saying I was disgusting for flicking HIV blood at people. I was like, that's not what happened. Like, no one's reading that. This is crazy. So yeah, her accounts got taken down for that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was wild. So, but you know, people have come for me more times on this app than I was going to make a joke there, but
Yeah, maybe not.
yeah, maybe not. You kind of see where I was going with that, but yeah, it's been crazy. So but yeah, I'm glad I'm at university now, and I don't see as many TikTok lives. I don't have time for it, but yeah, it's definitely interesting seeing the opposition.
Yeah, so summer is definitely different. I think that's when you were live a lot last year, right? It was during the summer.
Yeah. So I mean, I
Summer
think I went live a lot
for us. United States summer. School summer.
Yeah, I started going live. I think it was April last year, I think, and I kind of stopped in. Well, I stopped doing live streams in December. I've done about 6 live streams since, I think, but only because I was preparing for university and I just didn't want any distractions. But yeah,
That makes sense. Because I think I found you when we moved. We just moved out of Texas. Yeah, because I was staying in an Airbnb. I remember it was really early in the morning because you're on overnight for us. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning or something. Yeah, so I remember that. Yeah, so the summer, my point is when kids are out of school, the audience definitely changes, but then there's a lot more hosts around too, because, you know, like you said, university or college is out and people have more time. So things change in the summer. So it'll be interesting the next few weeks. Things are going to start shifting.
yeah, I'm going to be doing my live streams again, and I'm going to start some live streams again in that 6-week break and see how we go. But I mean, I'm probably not going to, you know, my algorithm's probably a little messed up at the moment. But
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Mine went a little crazy earlier. I actually ended up because I was by myself, and I'm not typically by myself. So my views got up to like, I don't know, like 1,500 or something. But I had 67 requests because like when I am alone, people want to come in and say mean things to me.
my gosh, yeah, that's crazy. I think the week after my the first live stream I did after my conference with TikTok, I went live, and it was probably my biggest live stream I've had to date, where I consistently held 2.6K viewers for 2 hours. It was huge.
Wow.
And I looked in the requests, and there was 90 requests, and I was like, this is absolute madness. I don't know what to do. So I was just like, I'm going to see like 3 more, and then I'm probably just going to end it because this is overwhelming. There's 90 people wanting to tell me I'm a man.
Exactly. That's what it was. It was like 60 something people telling me wanting to tell me that I'm a terrible mother and then I'm a bitch and a cunt. Like that was pretty much it. I'm like, cool.
Thank you, Kazak.
What am I supposed to do with this? Right?
I know it can be overwhelming. Yeah, and then, but maybe I'll just do some like, prove to me evolution is fake. I'll do those lives. Those are more chill, but still can get a bit crazy.
They can. I just can't believe some of those people actually believe these things, especially when you did the flat earth lives. Like,
oh my God. Yeah. I do that for entertainment for myself because I know
yeah.
I'm not a physicist. I don't know all the ins and outs of math and all that. So I bring up my friends like Blitz and Nixie, and, you know, I bring them up and let them roast, and I sit there with popcorn and I'm entertained. And every now and then I'll ask a question or something that doesn't make sense. And gas pressure is usually the one on the, I don't know if you've ever spoken to gas pressure. But
I do know.
yeah, and it's quite, those lives to me are entertaining. And I also learn a lot from them too, from Blitz and Nixie and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Sometimes you, like you said, you just need a break from people calling you a man, right? And I need a break from people invalidating my kid and telling me that I'm terrible for supporting her, which is absolutely silly. I think I think
Yeah, this must be
people should be supporting their kids. I don't understand why I'm so awful for doing that, but
Yeah, it must be hard for you, especially because, you know, not only are they sitting there abusing you, but they're also, as a parent, you don't want to see your child going through, you know, all this stuff, right? You know, to be mocked and ridiculed online and then see your child being mocked and ridiculed and stuff must be really, really hard, harder than what I can think I can go through. Like, I'm quite strong, but like, you know, I just,
you know, some days are better than others. It depends on the mood I'm in. Some days it affects me more. And yeah, and that's why really when it comes to like even when people attack like other trans women, that's why I get really upset, right? Because my kid's she's going to be a trans woman, you know, someday. She's still a kid at the moment, and I see how they're still treated, especially trans women, like we said, constantly being called men, invalidated, saying that you're some kind of predator, and like she literally just wants to use the bathroom, you know, she just wants to exist like I exist, like any other girl or woman in society exists. Like it's not more complicated than that. So yeah, it's really frustrating. It's hard sometimes.
oh,
But
well, I'm glad you got
to be very important, so I still do it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you've got good support behind you. Like, Adora's been huge in supporting you as well. I think that's great. Yeah. Look, lucky no one's tokenizing anyone. Stop!
Literally, like again, I named myself mom of a trans daughter. Like when I first started on this app, that's what I was going to do. I was going to come on, talk about my anecdotal experience, and talk about how to access gender affirming care, how to support your kids. Like literally, that's what it was. But unfortunately, within the United States, things changed. Legislations changed. They started banning gender affirming care for kids. But now there's 22 states where gender affirming care is banned for under the age of 18. And that advice that I used to give on how to support your kids is much more difficult now because in a lot of states, you can't even access the care that these kids need. It's very frustrating. And
yeah, and I don't think it's fair to, you know, sit there and say someone's, I mean, if Mel was up here tokenizing, I'd expect her to be like, well, I can say what I want because I have trans kids and I, you know, that's what I think of when I think of tokenizing. Like, I can host these topics because I have trans kids. That's very, and she doesn't ever say that. She barely brings up her children at all. And usually it's people that ask about it.
Yeah, or if I want to talk about a very specific thing with them. But yeah, usually that's what it is too. When people tokenize, right? They use their kid or they use their family member or whatever to actually do the opposite of what I'm doing. Instead of support, they are using them negatively. Like, oh, you know, my trans friend Haley here, you know, she doesn't think that kids should be, you know, access gender affirming care. They shouldn't get gender affirming care under the age of 18. Like that would be a problem if I did that.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Or I'm not trans.
That's not true. Haley does support it.
Yeah, or like I can't be transphobic because my sister is trans, and I'm like, that is ridiculous. Like, I just with these people, grinds my gears. It really does. But I should drop down. I've just been yapping this whole time.
It's fine. We still kept 400 people listening to us, so thank you, Haley. Appreciate it. I'll see if anybody else is still left in the request. But thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you around this summer, I guess.
Definitely. I'll see you later.
Awesome. Bye. Thank you. Hot dog, you can come in and just suck. Let me see if anybody. Well, never mind. Here, I'll let you in first.
Hello.
Hi. Let me see if anybody connects. We were talking for a while, so I might have lost all my requests. Oh, hello.
Leave the kids out of it.
Great. Is that
Seriously, just leave the kids out of it. Why do you got to push this onto kids? Why? What's going to help? Why? Kids don't even know what the hell they're doing. Kids aren't, their brain.
So you don't want to actually.
No. Their brain isn't, and there's science behind this. Their brain isn't even matured until in their mid-20s. So how the hell do they know what they want at such a young
Not
age?
about a want.
Leave the kid. No, it is. Leave the kids out.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they get to decide on their own.
Okay.
There was no
it's gone.
conversation to be had there.
She's wrong.
Shit is so frustrating. If you want to have a conversation and ask questions, I am willing to do that. If you want to just come in and say shit, go host your own live and say shit. Why hang up on him? I just told you.
Just making one thing very brain
So-
never stops developing.
Why do we
Your
let
connection's kinda
kids
shitty, hot dog.
make
Luke,
life-altering decisions?
Luke, how old are you?
I'm 25.
What life-altering decisions are we talking about here?
Gender-affirming care, or whatever it's called.
And why do you think anything's life-altering?
Stopping hormones leaves a lasting impact on a kid's life.
Yeah, so gender affirming care is supposed to have a positive impact on kids. That is
How does-
the purpose of gender affirming care. So for some reason, a child is not going to have a positive impact from gender affirming care. The doctors are not going to have any types of recommendations because, again, benefits always need to outweigh risks. So
Well, it definitely does not.
based on what?
Based on stopping the natural effects of a body.
Yes. What are the negative effects of puberty blockers?
It stops the body from growing naturally. It literally.
Yeah. What are the
Stopping
negative effects?
puberty.
That's the method of action. I didn't ask you for the method of action. I asked you for the negative effects.
Let's see. You're not producing what your body wants to produce.
That's the method of action.
No, that's a negative impact of what you're doing.
No, that's the method of action. That's what it does. That's the purpose of it. Yes, it stops the harm. It stops you from producing the hormones you would normally produce. Just a quick question: do you know what hormone puberty blockers actually stop?
Hormones.
Yeah, which one?
I don't fucking know. I don't care.
You don't care?
No.
Right, exactly.
So you just want to be against something without even having an understanding of what it is?
I have an understanding of what it is. It's changing your body for
Puberty blockers are changing your body.
how you literally just said they were. They're stopping normal hormones from growing in kids.
Yeah, which one?
Let's see, testosterone or estrogen.
No. No. Yeah, so it stops gonadotropin releasing hormone, which is the hormone that leads you to overproduce testosterone and estrogen in a way that puberty works. So it just stops that process. It pauses it for a little bit, and then once you
leaves
get off of
lasting
them,
effects on your body.
Not the only lasting effect is height.
And sometimes that can still be a positive benefit for the kid.
How? You're not letting your body grow how it needs to.
How it needs to? There's no like way your body needs to grow. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. What do you mean natural
Well, it
growth?
sounds to me like you just have a problem with trans kids and you want to just be against medication that you know nothing about. Am I correct there? Or
No, I'm against parents making decisions for their kids' futures that
making decisions for their kids' futures? Do you know
Yeah,
that
'cause
parents
kids are dumb.
kids are not dumb. Have you ever talked
Kids
to
are
a kid?
kids are not
Really not.
kids do not have their future in mind.
You do realize that a 4-year-old is far more intelligent than a 40-year-old, right? That's just how the brain works.
That's a good one.
What? I don't understand what's funny. A child's brain is a sponge. That's why it's easier to learn a language at 2 years old than it is to learn it at 20 years old.
Yeah, but you don't have knowledge when you're 4 years old.
I said intelligent, not smart.
You literally just said 4-year-olds are smarter than 40-year-olds.
No, I said it. They're more intelligent. Intelligent is your ability to absorb knowledge.
No.
Yes, that's literally what intelligence is. It's your ability to absorb knowledge.
That's not true.
Okay.
Right, so I didn't say they were smarter than adults. I didn't say they could make better decisions than an adult. I said they're more intelligent. I was very
Even
specific.
40-year-old. So the idea that like you're gonna get to a point where you're going to like make all these correct decisions for yourself is also just silly, right? You're all, as a human being, you're always going to make mistakes, right? You're always going to make decisions that you'll regret. Not everything you do is going to be perfect, right? But when you're supporting a trans kid, you're trying to get them to go through the puberty that best aligns with their identity, to give them the least traumatic childhood possible. What is wrong with that? Would you rather have kids have traumatic childhoods, Luke?
No, but changing their complete lives when they're so young.
What do you mean changing their complete lives?
Because putting them on medication to stop puberty and from them growing naturally.
You're not stopping puberty. Like, you know that children still go through puberty, right?
Not if you're on puberty blockers. It's kind of...
Yeah. No. Have you ever seen any prepubescent adults? Have you seen prepubescent adults running around? Adults who have not gone through puberty?
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty low number of people.
It's not a thing. Like, you have to go through puberty.
So it doesn't stop puberty. It's an agonist. That means it just pauses it. It prevents it from happening for a time while you're on the medication.
Yeah, but if you're taking them from when you're, say, 12 until you're 25, you're never going to be
You
able
don't take them that long.
So it's medical standard that 6 years is dangerous, right? So permanent effects can start to happen after 6 to 8 years. The typical length of treatment is 2 years.
Usually with a maximum of 3 years when it comes to kids who are gender incongruent. So
what's the point of that then? Like,
the point of puberty blockers is if a child is having distress, right? If they're diagnosed with gender dysphoria, to pause the effects of puberty that are causing the distress, to give the child more time to identify with the to live as the gender that they're identifying with, and to work with therapists to make sure that they have a proper understanding of their own identity.
Oop, bye.
Okay, what's the point then? Yeah, that would have been a good question, right? No, we're not stopping people from going through puberty. That is silly. That is absolutely silly.
People got real mad at me for saying a 4-year-old is more intelligent than a 40-year-old. Like, it's not easier to learn a language or learn to read or learn to do math at 4 years old than it is at 40.
Those things are actually really, that's why teaching children things young is more important. Children can learn multiple languages when they're little, very easily.
Okay. So first off, intelligence isn't how you retain knowledge. It isn't how you can absorb knowledge. It's how you retain knowledge. So intelligence isn't from a kid that can absorb knowledge because they don't have any knowledge in their head. So yes, they do absorb knowledge better, but it's because somebody that's more intelligent has more knowledge. So that just goes to Hot Dog or whatever his name is, saying that a child is more intelligent than a kid. And that's where that came from. So first off, a child is not more intelligent than
Great. So can you like slow down a little bit so they can talk to you about that?
Okay.
Okay.
Who wants to talk to me about that? If you're saying a kid is more intelligent than an adult with more knowledge, shows that that is not true. A kid does not have more knowledge than knowledge is what you know.
Hey,
That's
you,
why it's
you didn't say knowledge.
Intelligent. I didn't say knowledge.
intelligence. Yeah. Intelligence comes
All
from
right,
knowledge.
hold on a second. All right, do you want to be on the big screen?
I'm okay.
No, not you.
Okay,
The
let's
ability
hear
to
it.
apply and acquire knowledge.
That's not that. Yes,
and
that's
skills.
not intelligence.
What?
That
I
is
said
the definition of intelligence.
Yes. Okay. Intelligent means that you can retain the knowledge. The
It
reason
means-
why.
No, it means that you can acquire and apply the knowledge.
Okay.
Acquire and apply. It's easier for a 4-year-old to learn a new language. It's easier for a 4-year-old to learn how to count. It's easier for a 4-year-old to learn how to read.
Okay, yeah, but that's a no-brainer. Yeah, I mean, intelligent. Yeah, I get that, but knowledge doesn't. The thing is that yeah, a child is more intelligent, but just because a child absorbs anything is the reason why you can feed them anything you want and they will retain it. You can feed them like, oh, you have a gender dysphoria, and they're gonna retain it. And that's
No. Okay. No,
that's
that
the
is
problem.
actually
That's
incorrect.
the problem. What's going on?
What is
You-
gender
you can
dysphoria? What is gender
can
dysphoria? You
literally-
cannot feed a child to have a mental health, oh my God, what's the word I'm looking for? Disorder. You can't like.
Have you not? Yes, you can. You can convince your kid they're crippled. You can convince your kid
Jesus
anything.
Christ, that is not an appropriate word. Let's not.
Okay. You can convince your kid that they are disably challenged, and they will believe it. Yes, that's very intelligent from them for being as an absorbent sponge.
Yeah, and
So
what's
saying
that? That's like literally like a.
saying a kid is intelligent means why we are having this problem with saying like, oh, my
Dylan,
kid has.
what you're talking
gender
about is
dysphoria.
different.
That is a total
So
different thing. That's
you're
literally
talking
child
about-
abuse. You can abuse
You're talking
children.
about-
You can teach a kid anything.
Yeah,
If
Dylan, you can abuse children. Sure. Yes. That's not what we're talking about.
mentally as well, and that's what they're doing by saying that, oh, my kid has to go through gender blockers and all these
God,
all
no.
this problem.
You don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea
Like,
what you're
so-
saying.
Parents don't go to the doctors and say, "Hey, my kid needs puberty blockers and hormones." They go to the doctor and say, "Hey, what can we do to help my kid?"
What? Okay, wait, say that again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dylan, can
right.
you tell us from start to finish what this whole process looks like? And then also, I'm curious what your qualifications are.
All I'm saying is I've seen plenty of times where parents could manipulate their kids to say they want them to be what they want to be. So what if my kid comes, listen, so what if my kid comes and tells me, "Hey dad, I want to be a monkey tomorrow." Do you say,
Wait,
"Oh,
can kids be
fuck."
monkeys? Can kids be monkeys?
Can
Can
a
humans
male
be
be
monkeys?
can a
Dylan,
male be female?
Dylan,
Can a male be female?
can kids be an animal?
If they
Such
want
as
to
a
be,
monkey.
you can't deny them from that. If they feel that way, you have to accept it.
Dylan.
Oh my God! So there's a difference between.
No,
There's a difference
not.
between.
How many genders? How many genders are there? Honestly, I don't even know how many. So
Dylan,
if
can
they
we talk
be-
about one thing, or do you just want to pivot off to a million different things?
So
we can
I
talk
proved you
about
wrong
it.
on the intelligence, and now you can't let me speak. That's funny.
No, I get that. Okay,
Okay.
but intelligence.
So anyway, pretend play is not gender identity. Yeah, you can teach a kid a lot of things. You cannot teach them to be a gender identity. You can't
Yes,
teach
you
them how to be a.
can. Yes, you
No, you
can.
can't. If that were true,
Dude,
I would be straight
I
and
could,
cisgender.
I could
If
teach
that were
Yeah, and
no, I could tell.
my kid would be a boy. So
Listen,
you're incorrect.
I can go tell my daughter today because she's a tomboy. So she's like, I don't like girly things. I don't like girly things, and I'm like, that's okay, girl. That's okay. Listen,
What you're
I
not
hate
hearing,
this fucking stereotype.
Dylan,
I hate
what
this
you're
fucking
not
thing.
hearing here, what you're not hearing here, if you're
Dylan,
supposed to
take a
listen.
fucking breath, dude.
What you're not hearing here is that queer people wouldn't be queer because everybody tells us that we have to be straight and cisgender.
Nobody tells. No, I don't tell my kids.
No,
that they need to
I
be
was
straight.
told over and
I don't
over and
tell my
over
kids
and
they
over
need
and
to be
over
straight.
that
Oh
I
my
am a
god,
boy.
Dylan, shush.
Dylan, I was told over and over and over that I was a boy. They were wrong. It didn't change the fact that I was in fact a girl. Hot Dog was just saying the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dylan, what would be the benefit? What would be the benefit of a parent teaching their child
Because
to be
they
part of
have-
a
because they're-
Stop talking over me. You are so rude. I wasn't finished. What would be the benefit of a parent teaching their child or forcing their child to be part of a marginalized community that receives hate on a daily basis?
because they're the ones with the mental problems. That's it. They pass their mental problems on to their children and want to.
God.
Oh,
I'm
now
being
you're
honest.
really reaching.
I'm being honest. It has nothing to do with the child. I could tell
My
my
parents
daughter.
had no part in me being queer.
I can tell my daughter right now. I could tell my daughter, "Oh, you're a tomboy," or I could be like, "No, you might have one of these genders that you know. Let's take some blockers and see where you fit."
What are you talking about? That is not something you can
Yeah.
just do.
That's
So
what you
can
do.
we
Don't
no?
start.
Can we back up a minute and can you answer the
Yes.
question I asked you before, which is what
Yes.
does the process look like for a child who might be transgender?
Who might be transgender is a parent that's teaching them that they're
No,
not
I'm
fit in
asking
their
you
right
what
skin.
does the actual process look like?
Of being transgender. I think transgender is a mental displacement that somebody puts into their head.
I'm so glad that I started fully reading the U.S. Transgender Survey tonight.
That's my
because wait, no, Dylan, no. So if parents are pushing their mental disorders on kids, you would say that the supportive parents would have kids with higher rates of mental illness, right?
Is that just because it comes from a certain culture? Or
they
does
would
it
be worse
become-
off,
like,
right?
I know so
They would be
many
worse
people
off, right?
that
It's just
do
a
not
yes or
have
no.
But you would think, listen, you would think that trans would be
No,
hit
no,
or miss.
no.
It would be,
I asked you a
yes,
question. You
yes.
can answer yes or no.
Okay.
Yes or no?
I'm listening.
Yeah,
Repeat the question.
Right. Okay. So if you're saying that parents who support their trans kids are pushing their mental disorders on them, you would say that those kids with supportive parents would be worse off, right?
No, not necessarily, because they have the knowledge to pass it on to their kids instead of put it on themselves.
What mental disorder did I pass on to my kids? I want to know.
Dude, okay, so the mental
This is
disorder
wild.
is social anxiety, depression, mental
what?
instability.
Okay, that's so
I
great.
have social anxiety. How did
that's-
I put that on my kid?
Yeah,
That's
because you
so
don't
great.
get along with nobody. You don't get along with nobody, so you feel like you're left out. So you
Dylan.
Okay, Dylan, keep diagnosing me. Go ahead.
All right, I got some
I'm
numbers
saying
for you,
never
Dylan.
made
No.
you never made connections with somebody
such a
as a
good
friend or as a relationship. So a lot of people.
Wait a minute. I never made connections in a relationship. Then how have I been married for almost
Are you
2
married?
years?
Are you married? Do you have a husband?
Yes.
Are you fucking kidding?
Okay.
Dylan,
So
I've got
you
some
have a
numbers
husband,
for you.
and you and your husband said that you seen your son or your daughter just when they were a baby and said, "Oh, this is a boy," but I think that she thinks that she's a girl.
Dylan, are you
No.
okay?
I've never seen this.
We're
seen
not
this
in the
happen.
same room here.
I've never seen this happen.
Dylan, I've got some numbers
I've
for
never seen
you.
it happen.
Dylan, I've got
never
some
seen it
numbers for you.
happen.
Dylan, I've got some numbers that prove you
I'm
wrong.
listening.
You're not. You're really not. Okay, so let's start with homelessness. So about what is it? Okay, So 27% of people with supportive parents, trans people with supportive parents, have experienced homelessness, but 45% of trans people without supportive family has experienced homelessness. Self-unaliving attempts, 37 with supported family, 54 without supportive family. Current serious psychological distress, 31% with supportive family and 50% without it. So I'm not seeing where you see the mental illness. There is one more thing. I just got to search it. It's a meta-analysis. Hi. Okay, I'll come back with the numbers.
The only thing is, I feel like it comes with the culture that you're grown up in. Because if it was genetic, then we would have, it would be a sporadic number of people in any location. The only locations that have
Oh, this is gonna get real interesting right about now.
Okay, yeah. It's like literally, I'm in New Mexico, and I go all over New Mexico, and for some reason, never really run into people that say I
Dylan, newsflash: people are
that are
not
gay.
wearing
I have
the
all
fact
that.
that they're trans on their sleeve.
Yeah, it's because of people like you that we hide away, Dylan.
No, that's not
Doctor.
even true, because I literally support.
Yeah, I
support
love how you're in a room full of queer people and you're telling
is
us
gay.
why we hide
My
away.
aunt is gay. Like if you want to
Not the tokenizing.
I know, right?
Listen, if
And
you want
not the sexualization.
Okay, yeah.
Dylan,
If
what
you
does
want,
being
yeah.
gay and being trans have to do with each other?
because
I'm curious.
like not only being trans, but the thing is that like doing this to a kid that doesn't like, and I know they said that they're stupid, but that I don't think that's true. That they're smart, but the thing is that what I see of a lot of trans people that push that stuff on their kids is like, dude, you're a kid, grow up, play, have a good time. You don't need to like be like,
Yeah,
oh,
trans
did he
kids can
say?
do that too.
Okay, so Dylan, I'm back with the numbers.
Okay.
So this is a meta-analysis of 28 published studies which examined the consequences of sexual orientation and gender identity change efforts. So that's essentially trying to make a gay kid straight or trans kid cis. The studies included 190,695 LGBTQ individuals, of whom 12% experienced sexual orientation or gender identity change efforts.
Okay.
Based on participant self-report, I'm not done. The meta-analysis found that compared to LGBTQ individuals who did not undergo so, guys, those who did were more likely to experience serious psychological distress, 47% compared to 34%, which is a 33% increase when you try to change your child's gender identity. Depression, which is 65% compared to 27%. So trying to make your trans kid cis or your gay kid straight, it's a 140% increase in depression.
Dude,
I'm sorry, I'm not done yet. This sucks that I'm not on my mod account. So illicit drug use is an increase of 34%. Self-unaliving attempts are an increase of 48%, and self-unaliving action is a 211% increase. So if your statement was true that these parents are pushing their mental illnesses on their children, then it would be reversed.
So let me ask this question. So any kid that says, so is there really kids that wake up and say, Dad, I'm a girl right now, but I feel like I should be a boy. So that's what you're saying with this.
So that's not what happens.
That's not what being trans is.
Okay, well, enlighten me to what a kid comes to you randomly. A good parent. Let's consider a good parent that's never said anything about never showing anything or to a kid, and a kid
Oh
comes
wait, you
up
mean like
to
the
a
host
parent.
of the live that you've been talking over and trying to tell how it works this entire time?
Okay, yeah, there you go. Now's your time.
I mean, like, we've literally asked you several times. I've asked you, what does the process look like? And you keep going off on these
What is
tangents of
Yeah,
well, because I
I
don't
not
know, because
anything that
I
makes
don't,
any kind of sense.
because for some reason I've, like I said, I have 4 daughters. I have a tomboy. I know lesbians.
Yeah,
My family's
because
lesbians.
for some
So
reason,
LGBTQ is not, has nothing to do with what you're talking about.
the
I
T
understand.
is absolutely yes. That's what
Yes.
transgender.
But that's something different. Transgender, and now not only is transgender different. If you're old enough to want to do that, go ahead and do it.
Dylan,
But if you're
again,
gonna
you
do
don't know
that
what
to
the
a
fuck you're
kid,
talking about. You don't know
if
what
you're
you're
gonna
talking
do
about.
that to a
Have to be
kid,
old enough. How are you old enough for medical care?
you
I don't
don't
understand that.
you can't do that. You can't just go. If okay, I understand. If a kid says,
Dylan, you would do
listen, give me one
yourself a
second. Give me
huge
1 second.
favor if you actually asked questions and tried to learn instead of speaking over people and trying
Okay,
to talk about things
well,
that you know
okay,
nothing about.
okay. I'm giving one. Give me 1 second. All I'm saying is, if a kid says that, then wait till they're old enough before you go start pushing chemicals in their body. My opinion. And as far as everything else, like I love gay, I love lesbian, I love everybody. But as far as when you put a kid involved,
No,
I
you
mean
don't.
transgender too. I don't care. Listen, in transgender, I don't care. If you want to do, if you feel like
Guys,
you're
wear your
uncomfortable,
transphobia on your
if you
sleeve. Don't hide it.
if
Dylan,
you
have
feel like you're
you
uncomfortable in your body, then change it.
Dylan, have your kids ever taken
If you feel
antibiotics?
listen, antibiotics,
Yeah.
no, they haven't.
None
I
of your
guess
kids
that's
have ever
fortunate,
taken
right?
antibiotics?
No.
What about allergy medicine or Tylenol or Advil?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
guess
they've
what?
taken Advil.
So I think they should wait till they're 18 to have chemicals.
Dude, but
Yeah.
I get it. But you're talking about changing gender. If you
No, we're not.
if you're old enough,
No.
if you
We're not, Dylan. We're not talking about changing gender. If you would actually listen and stop just spewing off a bunch of bullshit, we could explain this to you. But it doesn't sound like you want to learn. You just want to keep saying
I
stuff.
do. But I'm frustrated when it comes to kids because I have kids, and I feel like I said, if you want to be transgender,
You know what?
be
And your
transgender.
kids
If you
are
feel like in
privileged
your
enough
heart,
to not be trans, and you are privileged as a parent to not have a
no,
trans
that's
child.
not privilege.
It is
No, that's
privilege.
not privilege. Because
It
why?
absolutely is
Because if my
privileged.
kid, if my kid felt a certain way, I would acknowledge it. But I'm not going to go pump chemicals into them. That's
It's
the one thing. If my kid,
Dylan. If they need it,
literally,
you're not okay. So no medication,
Damn it.
no medical treatment for kids
Pumping
is what you're saying.
anything.
hey,
No,
What
no
so
medical
what if your
if they
child
were dying,
what if your child had an endocrine disorder where they needed hormones?
what is that?
An endocrine disorder?
Then yeah, give it to them. Yeah, give
Great.
it to
So
them.
wouldn't that be pumping
So what's the
hormones into them?
consequence? So then, but what's the
Dylan,
consequence?
stop fucking talking. Dylan, why is that not considered pumping hormones into them?
Okay, so go back to what was the diagnosis? I've never heard of that before. To where
An
you would need
endocrine disorder?
yeah.
It's a disorder relating to hormones.
Yeah, any kind of
Okay.
hormonal imbalance where your kid would require hormones.
Okay. So I mean, like I say, but at the end of
We're
the day,
not
I
giving
understand.
Dylan, we're not giving our kids medical care that they don't need. That would be silly.
Okay,
Doctors
but at
don't
the
prescribe
no,
medication.
okay.
Oh my God. Doctors don't prescribe medication to people who don't need it.
Are you sure about that?
The benefits need to outweigh the risks.
Are you but are you sure that doctors don't medicate prescriptions that are unnecessary so that I just was commenting off of that last one. You're saying a doctor won't
Oh
prescribe?
my God. Especially when it comes to gender
All
affirming care. When it comes to gender
all I
affirming
have to do is okay. All I have to do is go to a counselor and have them tell my counselor that my
No.
daughter has
Is it that easy?
gender dysphoria.
Wow.
It is
God,
that
I
No.
easy.
wasted years.
No.
I
It's
wasted
not that
years going
easy.
through this
A
process.
good
And I wasted years.
so
If
no
it was
a real
that
Here's
easy,
what we
counselor.
doing.
I'm not saying I'm not saying somebody that's just sitting in a shed
Wait,
somewhere.
so when
I'm
I
saying a
moved
real
and when I
professional
moved and
counselor.
Dylan, shush. When I moved
Okay.
and gender affirming care was banned and my kid had to start her care all over again, all I had to do was go to a therapist and just say like what I needed. Wow. I wish I would have known this.
How
6
old is your
months
kid?
ago.
I know. I wish it was that easy.
How old is your kid?
15.
How old is your kid?
15.
Okay. How long has he or she felt this way?
You've already been told.
She
Wait,
has
do what?
she has been out
Oh,
since she was
okay.
13. I know you have a lag. It's really annoying.
So what's D mean?
She?
What?
Oh, I thought you said D.
No. She has
Like
been
D
out.
as in dog?
She has been out since she was 13. But she has had some type of understanding that she has had a gender incongruence since she was 8.
What happened before that?
What do you mean what happened before that?
No, like
It's called
how
being in the
come like
closet.
8 years of being a boy or whatever, I'm not saying whatever, I'm just saying like being a boy, and then at 8 years old you're like I feel like I want to be a girl. So if you say you feel like you want to be a girl, then what does that mean? Does that mean that you
I didn't say anything about her feeling like she wanted to be a girl. Did I say that?
When you ask a question of Mel, you need to let her actually answer it instead of answering it for her. It's not super helpful.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so what happened was her gender identity developed incongruent from her sex, which means she was assigned male at birth but developed into a girl.
Okay.
That's what happened. I didn't make her trans. I'm not some crazy parent.
So so my biggest thing is, how come you see a high influx of people in a certain area, like say Los Angeles or something like this, to where it's like
Los Angeles, Sherry.
no, okay, I'm just saying like anywhere, like a big city or something like that. But if you really go into like a smaller city, you do not see this problem to where it's like
problem.
What problem?
it is a problem. I'm not saying it's a bad problem. I'm just saying like it's the situation.
Dylan, how do you spot a trans
problem?
person? How do you spot a trans person?
Problem.
Okay, I'm just saying.
You're just saying
All I'm
what?
saying,
Say it.
no, all I'm saying is that why is this not spread out evenly over the United States? Why is this not spread out perfectly? Because that's how diabetes works. That's how heart rate works. That's how
Okay,
everything
give me your
works.
stats. I want your data. I want your data that shows that big cities have more transgender people per capita than smaller towns per capita. Give me your data.
I just gave you my data.
No, you didn't.
You mean you want actual facts?
Actual facts,
How
not
you
just
doing?
your feelings.
It's
Okay,
from people
well-
being closeted, Dylan. It's from people being closeted.
And then yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like,
that's why.
Dylan,
I'm just saying I
you
know
don't
a
have the
whole
data, do
city.
you?
I know a whole city of people, and I've never once had a parent come up to me and say, "Hey, I'm like anything like gender dysphoria is only something that is a issue in
Dylan, I don't want your
countries-
anecdotal experience. I want data. I want a study.
Well, I mean, I literally just came onto the chat. Like I didn't come on the chat to, you know what I mean? Try to,
That if you don't have the data to back your wild claim,
and I get it,
concede the point.
I get it, but I'm just telling you my opinion. I'm not giving you
Dylan,
straight
no.
facts.
So there's
I
a
get it.
difference between facts and opinions. You can't make
Yeah.
a fact. You can't make an untruth your opinion. So the reason that you don't see many kids with gender dysphoria is because trans people make up 1% of the population, and only 12% of trans kids have gender dysphoria. Think about how small of a number that is. That's 0.0012%.
So my biggest problem is that I've seen a lot of stuff that, and everything I've seen when it came to like transgender, that does not anything to me. If you want to be you, be you. That's how I feel. Now, as far
you
as
gotta
when it
stop
comes,
with that.
Yeah.
listen, when it comes to being a kid, that's where I draw the line. I don't like I said, I don't care about
Okay,
anything
so
else
deny
you do.
kids medical care. Deny kids medical care. That's your bottom line, Dylan, right?
All trans adults were once trans kids. I was 4 when I knew I was trans.
You were 4 years old, dude. I've
was.
had 4 kids. I've had 4 kids that are just regular kids and nothing
Regular
comes up with
kids?
their gender.
Dude.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
so
no, no.
remember
I'm just saying.
remember when I said
You were
trans?
you were
Do
regular.
you
You were
Just
a
remember
regular
regular kid
kids.
too.
remember
No,
when I said
you
trans
were
people
regular,
only make up 1% of the population?
and which is what maybe 100,000 in the whole world, pretty much.
Not even
No.
close.
Okay, math. No, that would be
Okay, America,
70
America.
in America. No, it's
1.6
about
billion approximately in America. Sorry about hot dog. My bad.
You're good. You got it faster than me.
So how many trans people are in America?
Approximately 1.6 million.
Yeah.
Okay. So now this genetic. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one, and I do believe it. I do believe about you not feeling like in your right self, like gender wise. I do understand that. So now, but if it's only 1%, there is a lot. I mean, even people that are not trans would do, like, people like tell their kids they're this, tell their kids they're that, even when they're not. When this conversation is even out of the window, but now you bring that in. So now you bring 1% of America into this. 80% of them are not like completely right in the head. I'm talking about normal,
Right in
like
the
normal,
head.
like.
What the
Okay.
heck?
No,
No, you're
listen.
I'm not
Just
letting
say
you.
right in the head.
Right.
Did you just say that?
I'm not talking about
Dylan,
trans or
I'm
anything
not
like
letting
that.
you pull these numbers out of your
Normal,
ass. Dylan, I'm not letting you pull these numbers out of your
So
ass.
let
Back them
me
up.
ask you
You
this
just said
question.
that 80% of these people are
No,
not.
I said of everybody. I said of regular people. I'm
Sure,
not
back
just
that claim up.
like no
You're
race,
pulling numbers out of your
no
ass.
gender.
Back that claim up.
Listen, dude. Can you listen, dude? Can you listen?
Not
No
a dude.
race, no
Not a
gender,
dude.
no sexual, no sexual anything. So if you how many people in this America, how many people do you think are right in the head? Give me the answer.
What the
What
fuck?
percent do you
Dylan,
think?
this is wild.
No,
Like,
give me this. Listen,
You are all over the place,
How many
dude.
That
people?
is so fucking ableist and
Di-
awful of you to say. Like, what the
What? I
fuck,
know.
dude?
Listen.
yeah, Brandy, he's
No, I
making
said,
my headache worse. Ugh.
I said, how many people in this world are actually right in the head? Be honest.
Not you.
I first would need you to give me the definition of right in the head. I mean, this
No,
language that you use, stop. I'm still
yeah.
talking. This language that you use is horrible towards the
What
trans
language?
community. It's ableist. It's transphobic.
Wait,
It's
what are you,
horrible.
dude? I
Because
just
you
said I
are
support
sitting up
transgender.
here. No, you don't support transgender
I don't
people,
support.
not transgenders.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
I don't support
No, you
putting it on a
don't, because
kid.
all
It's not
trans.
putting it on a kid, Dylan. Some kids are trans. We're talking about supporting those kids. They are trans. It's not getting put on them. They are literally, they literally develop that way.
But do people put trans on their kid? Yes or no?
No.
It's not possible.
Nobody.
Dylan, and
Nobody
I'm going to do
does?
something that you weren't
Okay,
able to
hold on,
do.
hold on, hold on.
People put
You
cis
just
on
said
their
you
kids
just said
is what they do.
you just said nobody tells their kid they should be a girl when they were a boy. I mean, I have 4 girls, and I
That's
wish I had a
not
boy.
what I said.
I
That
wish
is
I had a
not what
boy.
I said, Dylan. Dylan,
I can convince
Dylan.
my oldest daughter.
what
I
Mel
can
said.
convince my
And now
oldest
you're
daughter.
steamrolling.
That is not what I said.
But you said nobody does that. You said
I
nobody
didn't say
does that.
No, listen.
That is what you just said.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my god, somebody mute him. I wish I could.
People
No,
often, right? People often tell trans kids that they are cisgender. They put that identity on their kids. It doesn't
But
work
they don't.
the other
They
way
don't
around.
do the opposite. But they don't do the opposite.
No.
Oh man, that's bad. That's bad for you saying that. That just
Okay,
makes you
provide your
sound so
data.
terrible.
God, Dylan,
You
I'm
said people.
Provide your data, Dylan.
You just said that people will make their kids be straight, but nobody would make or people would make their kids be what they are.
Yeah, because
but
that's how society is structured. Society is structured around cisgender heterosexual people.
But you're saying nobody flips that?
No, literally, most of the people on the panel can
Oh
tell you
my
they were raised
gosh.
in families where they were forced to be cis
Wow.
until they were
Everybody,
older.
everybody,
I come up with an
in this,
example the other way.
everybody in this world, even I'm just saying, like LGBTQ, like if you're lesbian or whatever and have whatever, you're telling me nobody in this world would want to try to convince their kid to be their different sex. That
No.
sounds stupid on your part.
No.
Why would
Wow.
we do
There's
that?
there's
What does
how
that
there's
have to do
there's
with being
four
lesbian
there's
anyway?
4 billion people on this earth, and you're saying nobody would want to
Oh my
convince their
God, my
kid to be
head.
they were different.
Jesus, Dylan, you said that's like 17 times now.
But you said no.
Dylan, because we all don't want our kids. The people on this panel who have children, I don't want my kids to be part of the community because of people like you.
Exactly, Dylan.
Dude, my aunt's lesbian. Everybody, I support transgender.
You're
I don't
tokenizing
support
again.
doing it with the kid.
You don't
Let them
support
grow up.
transgender kids.
Yes, I don't. I'm sorry.
Dylan.
Because,
Dylan just said
like I
fuck
said,
them kids, is what he said. Dylan said fuck
no,
the
I
trans
do
kids. They
not.
don't get care. Yeah, you did.
No.
That's basically what you're saying.
Do you not? But do you not realize that a lot, like majority of the people say, do not touch a kid's hormones like that?
What are you talking about?
Majority of what? We're talking about doctors.
Okay,
Dylan,
Dylan,
we're not talking
I'm-
about dipshits off the street. We're talking about doctors.
You're talking
Yeah.
about doctors that want to make a dime off of
Right, Dylan,
Oh
and
my
again,
God, Dylan, you are
Dylan.
not willing to
$500
fucking
procedure.
listen.
you need to back your claim with data. You're just
Dylan.
making wild claim after wild claim and not backing any of it with any data.
Well, because I told you it's not data; it's my opinion.
And your opinion is not backed by anything.
But your guys'
Your
opinion is not
harmful
really backed by
opinion
anything either.
is not backed by data.
Like I said, I support everything. But now you guys are talking
No,
about
you
putting.
don't, Dylan. You don't.
But I don't support doing it to a kid because that they
It's not
don't
doing
have the
it
right
to a
mindset.
kid. I don't know what you don't get. We're not doing
Allowing
anything
kids
to
to have
kids.
treatment. Sorry, my battery. Allowing kids to have treatment, you're against.
I'm not trying to be a jerk, and I'm not trying
You
to be
are
a.
though. You're being a jerk, whether
And I
you're
get
trying
that.
to
I
be or
get
not.
that. No, I know, and I do understand that, and I apologize.
I think you need to be a little more open to learning and a little less talkative.
I understand, and I get it. Like I
All
said,
right.
I've been through diversity. I've been through every diversity, like lesbian, gay, straight. I transgender. I understand it, but I don't get.
Dylan,
If you
Are you-
understood it, Dylan, you wouldn't
Okay.
be so resistant to this conversation.
No, and I get it. You're right. So what you're saying though is that transgender is 1% of this population, and a kid transgender is even smaller. So of course I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to this. I understand where you're coming from. I do not understand about this.
You have
'cause
a
if
very
transgender,
The problem is,
strong
Dylan,
opinion.
it's not that you don't understand. It's that you have a strong opinion and you are against something that you do not understand.
That's
That
the
is the
problem.
issue. If you don't understand, shut up and sit down and listen. That's
Right.
it.
And there's actually people on this panel right now that can really educate you. You have 3 trans people, 2 parents of trans children, and one of us is a mental health professional.
Like
Maybe
literally,
listen.
you're not willing to listen to any of us. You just keep going on and on and on about your opinions.
it just like I said, when you bring a kid involved, it just frustrates me. And I'm not saying that you're wrong, and I'm not saying that I'm right, but I'm just saying that's what frustrates me is
Dylan.
it's a huge altercation that is being put
Yeah.
on, like not being put on,
Dylan, it
that is
frustrates
all
me. It
being
frustrates
Dylan,
me, Dylan, that you
Dylan,
think that
stop.
you should have a say-so in my kid's medical care. That's what frustrates me, Dylan. Why should you get a say-so in what kind of medical care our kids get when you don't know what you're talking about? That's what's really frustrating me. How about I come into your home? How about I like dig through your family and I look at what kind of medical treatment you guys are getting and I say, you know what? I don't agree with that one. You can't have that one. That's not right. Like, who does this? Only in the trans world. That's it. Only for trans kids. Nobody else would do this.
Dylan, something you don't understand is you don't support trans
I
people
think he
because all
left.
trans adults were once trans kids.
It is so amazing that you can have like a panel like this, like you said, 3 trans people, 2 mothers of trans kids, like and a mental health professional, and you were just unwilling to just listen,
Literally.
Imagine waking up next to her every day. Yeah, you know, you should ask my husband. I bet it's amazing.
I finally started reinvigorating my knowledge base, so no more repeat points. Yay!
God damn it. America has become brainwashed. The other chick. Okay. I don't know which one you're talking
America
about.
has become brainwashed by football kickers that think they know something.
God, that is all over the place. It's so fucking annoying. Trent, what's up? You're muted.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm sorry, what?
How old are you?
43.
All right, cool. Let kids be trans.
Cool. I'm sorry?
Let kids be trans.
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
Okay. Why do we have age restriction laws on sex with children under the age of 18?
Jesus fuck!
No, I'm just asking a question. Why do we have those laws?
Do you really need to ask that question?
Yes,
Is
I
that a
do. I want to
real
make sure you
question?
understand. Why do we have those laws?
Yeah, why don't you make sure you understand why, and then how that's not
I
comparable to
understand why.
medical
I'm asking
care.
you, why do we have those laws?
Literally not comparable to medical
It's
care.
literally comparable. Why do we have those laws?
Children cannot consent to adults.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Trent,
We're
Children
talking
cannot
about
consent.
informed
Why can't
consent,
they
which is
consent?
medical care, Trent.
Trent, can you explain the
Why do
difference
we
to me
have to have
between?
laws for the parents to
Oh,
make
I guess
consent
I
for the
wasn't
children in
talking.
medical care?
Trent,
No,
can you
Trent is
explain?
just as strong an opinion as the previous guest.
Go ahead.
Trent,
I'll
Confidently
listen.
wrong, if
oh
you
my
will.
god. Trent, explain to me the difference between informed consent and legal consent.
I believe it has to do with laws. I
Mm.
can't really necessarily off the top of my head at the moment.
Right, so
But
then
informed
why are
consent usually
maybe
is
ask?
Yeah,
dealing with
which
the
one is
individual
related to
person, and
medical
laws
care? Which one is related to medical care, Trent?
probably the legal consent
No.
because you
No,
have to have legal
informed
consent with
consent.
that too. Yeah, you
Informed
do.
consent.
Most of the time, yes. Most of the time it's informed
Wait,
consent,
what?
but there are situations where it's legal.
Trent, you're just rambling on about shit. I don't know what you're saying.
Well, I'm sorry you don't understand.
So you're not
So
making any sense.
anyway,
Did anyone understand
the
what Trent
children
just said?
can't give consent and they have to have
No,
the
he's
parents'
like
consent,
muffled or
correct?
something.
Can you hear me?
You're
Yeah.
muffled a little bit, Trent.
Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah,
So
informed
the children
consent.
have to have the parents' consent,
Yep.
is the point. Right.
Yeah, they do. They do in gender affirming care. They can't do any of it on their own. So, next.
So next.
Yeah, your next point. Next.
Is it Aaron in request?
No.
I think I've got like 5 more minutes to go and I have to board.
So like I was saying, anyway, the children can't give consent. So
You
they
can
have to
keep
turn to the
saying that, but
parents
you're
for
wrong.
consent.
You can just keep
Yeah, no, I'm
repeating.
right. The children can't give consent. So they can't
Literally,
get
like
the
this is the
informed decisions
patient.
to
I.
make
Oh
those
my
consents.
god.
It's the same thing. It's the same idea. The children can't give consent to have sex with older adults. The children
That's
can't
not the
don't
same
Jesus
thing.
make
Christ.
informed
Do you have
decisions.
children, Trent?
Children don't make informed decisions. Yes, I have
Trent!
5.
God
Children don't
damn
make
it. Do you
informed
have
decisions.
children? Oh my god, the
Yes, I have
paper.
5.
Do you have children?
Yes.
Yeah, so your children never consent to anything at the doctor's office when a doctor says they're going to give your child a shot,
No,
like
the doctors always
they're
look
not
at me.
informed. Your
No, the
kids aren't
doctors always
informed of
look
what
at
they're.
me for consent.
Jesus fucking Christ. They actually talk to your child as well. And if your child refuses, they will take another approach. Right?
Literally,
And
even if your
Yes,
kid's
you're
gonna get their
being
wisdom
awfully
teeth taken out or their tonsils
confrontational
or
about
anything,
just
the kid
reality
has to
here.
consent and they have to know what's going on. They
have
can't just
to
do it.
But
comprehend,
they
they
still
have to
can't make fully
understand.
informed consent.
That's what
Is the
informed
whole
consent
point.
is, Trent.
No, they're still not fully informed. You know that. Children can't be fully informed.
What?
Children cannot make a fully informed decision. Is the
That's why
whole
they're not
fucking
doing it
point.
on their own. They're not doing it on their own. They're doing it with parents and medical professionals.
Trent, what is informed consent? What does that mean?
I'm not answering your stupid question. We all know what it means.
It's not a stupid question. If
It
it's
is
so
a
stupid,
stupid
then tell me
question.
what informed consent is.
It's a stupid question. We all know what it
Oh
means.
my god.
If
Do
you know
you?
what
I
it
don't think you
means,
do
then
know.
tell me. Because I really don't think you do know.
Looks so
I really
weird.
don't think you know. So here we
Okay.
are. Okay. There we go.
It's hilarious.
See how stupid that is? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you sound pretty stupid, buddy.
Yeah, right back at you.
I know it's backwards, but here we go.
I can't read it.
So, signed consent by both parents and assent by the patient. And this is literally like this is the male to female patient education form, right? When it has to do
Yes,
with
and you
getting
still have to have the
HRT.
parents' consent.
Yes! No one is saying you don't need parent consent.
And the point is the child cannot make a fully informed decision.
Yeah.
So are you just against kids like being trans? Is that what it is? And you're just trying to use this as a stupid excuse? Because that's what it sounds like.
I'm wanting them to wait until they're 18. That's
Right, so
why.
it has nothing to do with informed consent. You don't give a
That
fuck.
can be
Yeah,
traumatic.
he doesn't want to understand.
Can a kid
That
be
can be traumatic.
can a kid
Kids
be
wait till they're
trans?
18.
Can a kid be trans? Yes. There's literally a reason why I have a male to female patient identification requirements for HRT paperwork right here. Because my child is on HRT and we had to sign the consent form, right? My kid had to sign it. And then I had to take the patient education form afterwards. And I kept it for these lives.
And if you deny a kid who needs gender affirming care and you deny it till they're 18, that can be extremely traumatic.
Or fatal.
Yeah, you know it's all about the draw.
All right, I got a board.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll be back in a few.
Okay. Are you done, Trent? Because you're just saying a bunch of nonsense.
Oh.
Great. Goodbye.
Oh, where did everyone go?
I'm not going to be.
That was embarrassing. I didn't think I could beat Dylan. But my God.
Seriously. Oh my God. Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
All right. How old are you?
I'm 27.
Cool. Let kids be trans.
Oh yeah, of course, of course. Was this a debate or it was just like I'm just here. I'm just here.
Conversation.
Conversation.
Trans kids? I'm looking for
If I ask can I ask a question without being rude?
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Why do you feel that kids should be able to be, make that decision?
Because it's not a decision. Some children are just trans. They just develop that way. That's just who they are.
something like they were born that way?
Yep.
Okay.
That's it. Is that it?
Nah, I'm just trying to add it up. You know, like okay. I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
gender identity develops in the brain, in the hypothalamus between the ages of 3 and 7.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, say that one more time.
Gender identity develops in the brain, in the part of the brain called the hypothalamus between the ages of 3 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what happens. Some kids develop their gender identity incongruent from their sex assigned at birth.
So basically, it's like between 3 and 7. It'll let you know if you want to be.
No, it's not. Again, it's not about a want, right? So a child can be assigned male at birth and develop into a girl.
So how does that happen?
It's just a natural part of child development.
The hypothalamus in girls is larger than that of men. Sorry, larger in girls than in boys. And often a transgender person's brain will look more like their gender identity. It's not a diagnostic. Like you can't diagnose someone based on that. But it is evidence to support the fact that trans people being trans literally comes from the physical structures of the brain.
Okay, so it's like I kind of see. So if you're saying like you want to be, so
I'm
it's
gonna
not
drop
saying-
now. I'm exhausted. Good
All
night,
right,
everyone.
I'm gonna end soon anyway. Have a good night.
Hey, my guy.
Not a guy.
Oh, no, I thought there was. I wasn't talking to you.
Yeah, she's a girl, a woman. So anyway,
Oh, my bad for the misgender appropriation.
so again, gender identity develops in children, right? Around the age of 2, children become conscious of their physical differences between boys and girls. Before their 3rd birthday, most children can label themselves either a boy or girl, and by age 4, most children have a stable sense of their gender identity. During the same time of life, children... Oh wait, that's not the one I want to read. Where's the part that I usually read? I lost it, but anyway, it doesn't matter. If you want to actually read about it, the article that I'm looking at is healthychildren.org. It's by the American Academy of Pediatrics. It's called Gender Identity Development in Children.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I was doing at 3 and 7. At 3 and 7, man, I can't remember at 3, but it's around
Being
that.
a boy or girl for most children is something that feels very natural. At birth, babies are assigned with male or female based on their physical characteristics. This refers to their sex, right?
Yeah.
And then we assume a gender identity based on that. So typically, males are assigned boys and females are assigned girls.
Wait.
And for most children, that feels totally natural to them and they never question their gender identity. They just go with it. But if a child actually develops incongruent from their sex, they recognize that. That is a trans kid.
Do you think it has anything to do with their environment?
Gender expression has something to do with your environment, but not your identity. Self-recognition of gender identity develops over time, much the same as a child's physical body does. Most children's asserted gender identity aligns with their assigned gender. Again, they're cisgender. Their sex and gender align. However, for some children, the match between their assigned their assigned sex and their gender identity is not so clear. It's literally just natural to be transgender, and it happens in children.
So it has nothing to do with who, like, where they are, where they came from. It's just like a brain development.
Yeah, they don't care who you are, where you're from, as
Oh
long as
wow.
you love them. Sorry, I just had to do it. Yeah. I don't even know what that song is. Anyway, I'm getting tired. Sometimes I
Is that
get
like
goofy.
rare? Is that like rare?
Oh my god. Yeah, no, it has nothing to do with that. Now, your identity can vary, like depending on the culture that you grow up in, sure, but it still develops in your brain, and you still get a recognition of it.
No, I mean, like, is this like a rare thing? Like, say if
It's pretty rare, yeah.
Oh, okay. I see. So it's not like it's
No,
rare
the
that.
majority of kids are cisgender, which just means that if you're female and a girl, you're cisgender. If you're a male and a boy, you're cisgender. But you can be male and a girl, or female and a boy, or something in between.
Hold on. Okay. I got you.
And it literally just develops naturally.
Okay. I see.
Cool. Do you have
I
any other
understand.
questions? Do you have any more questions?
Nah, I think I got an understanding of it, but I don't want to sit here and I was just trying to get an understanding.
Cool. Well, there you go.
I appreciate the time you explaining it and everything to me.
All right. Awesome. Have a good
Y'all
night.
take it easy.
Bye. You know what? That was a good unexpected conversation. And I'm going to end there because it's 11:13 p.m. and my eyeballs are on fire. They're like, I get like eye allergies. And earlier when I went for a walk, like my eyes were bothering me and I took my contacts out and they're still like really like swollen and irritated. So anyway, thanks for hanging out. Irritated. Nice seeing you. Hot dog, you do have an echo. I don't know what's going on there. I have a lot of requests, but I don't know why you have an echo. I think it's the glitch. Earlier, I literally had to restart my phone to make it stop doing that. But anyway, thanks for hanging out, guys. Thanks for the new subs, the song, one more song. No, I can only sing on like when I'm not prepared. Anyway, all right. I'll probably be around this weekend. I don't have a whole lot going on. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks, Hot Dog, and everybody else that was on the panel. Appreciate all the love and support. I'll see you guys later. I can't get rid of it.